Alright, this is my second video in the series of open chord videos that I'm doing. I'm going to show you G and E minor. I'm actually going to start with E minor. Previously I showed you E, which looked like this. Right? To change this into an E minor, we're just going to get rid of this index finger. So, if you don't already know E, go back and watch the video that I made on E and A minor. E minor has got only two fingers there, so you just have your second finger on the second fret of the A string and your index finger, your third finger or ring finger on the second fret of the E string. And a little aside here, the difference between a major chord and a minor chord is that a major chord has a major third, okay, which is 2 whole steps above the root. So if you watched my video on steps, on the musical alphabet, you know about whole steps and half steps. A minor chord, that third note, has been flatted. Okay, so E major, E minor. All right? That's something that's useful to know, and I'll probably address that more fully in another video. For now, we have an E minor chord, and then we're going to switch to a G chord. Now, I have a way I like to play the G chord. Okay, and here's a chord diagram sheet. You're going to want to have one of these. Okay, there's the E minor chord down here, and right above it is the G chord. Okay. There's a lot of discussion as to what fingers to use. And if somebody teaches you how to play a G chord differently than the way I play the G chord, that's fine. I have a way I like to do it. I think it makes sense. It's not the only way I play a G chord, but this is the way I usually teach it. Your pinky goes on the third fret of the high E string. Your third finger goes all the way down to the bottom to the third fret of the low E string. Your middle finger goes on the second fret of the A string. Okay, and your index finger does nothing. It's just hanging out. Okay? That's how I play the G chord. So I go from E minor to G. I feel like it takes a little bit of work to learn this G chord, but this G chord is easier to get to from other chords. So you have more work on the front end, learning how to do a chord without the index finger, but in the long run it's more useful. People will teach the G chord like this. That's fine. The bluegrass version of the G chord is also great for AC/DC songs. You can leave this finger out if you deaden this string. That's actually really what I call the AC/DC G chord. Referencing the band AC/DC if you don't know who that is. But we're going to stick with this chord. Okay, so there's your G chord and your E minor. And again, just like with the previous video, start on G, strum 4. Okay, and that chord progression is called a 1-6 chord progression. G is 1, G, A, B, C, D, E. E is the 6th note of the G scale, and so if you're going from a G major chord to an E minor chord, that's called a 1-6 chord progression. All right, that's it. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to do one on A to D, and one on C, D minor, and F. Just because I like the way that those chords go together. Okay, so thank you, and look out for the next 2 videos on your 9 basic open chords.